You think we've been putting you to sleep? Well, now we have a real hypnotist, a real live hypnotist right now. His name is Bob Romanoff. We have some people sitting right here so they can get hypnotized. Everybody, you ready to get hypnotized? Well, let's get hypnotized with Mr. Bob Romanoff. I couldn't do it either.
Can you hear me? Yeah, maybe I'll talk loud without the mic.
If he can if he keeps us awake, he'll be the winner.
Yeah.
How can I beat that? Okay. How can I beat that? Okay. In any event, I'm not a professional hypnotist, but I have been interested in hypnosis for many, many years, over 30 years. Ever since I was a kid, but I've only practiced for about 30, 35 years. I've won contests. I've lectured to police officers on its use as an evidentiary tool. I once won a contest against professional hypnotists with the most original hypnotic technique. And I was particularly proud of that, and I've lectured on a yearly basis at the School of the Art Institute. And I've given many, many demonstrations. In any event, how many of you have ever been hypnotized before? One in every crowd. And how many of you would like to see if you can be hypnotized? Actually, at this time, I prefer to do it with adults rather than kids. I have done work with kids before, but tonight I prefer just to do it with adults. Why don't we try some suggestibility tests first to see how suggestible you are. By the way, I've got to tell you that, believe it or not, the smarter you are, the better you are, the better subject you'll make. A moron cannot be hypnotized. Now, that doesn't mean that if you can't be hypnotized that you're a moron, but it does mean that if you can be hypnotized, that you are not a moron. So how many of you want to find out if you're a moron or not? Any event, let's try some suggestibility, a couple of suggestibility tests. The first test, the first test, if you can hear me, put your hands together with your fingers out like this, straight out. And as you do, you'll find that your fingers will start to come together like magnets. They'll start to come together like magnets. They'll come together, and they should touch each other. How many of you found that your fingers came together? Good. Now, that's not hypnosis, but it is a suggestibility test. Let's try one more suggestibility test. And that is that I'm going to ask you to hold your arms straight out like this, and your left hand, your left palm up with your right right arm with your thumb up. Now, wait. Yeah, ring on left hand, that's right, okay. Now, I want you to imagine that there's a balloon tied to your right thumb and a very heavy weight in your left hand. I placed a very heavy, heavy weight in your left hand, and the balloon tied to your left arm. Your left arm will go down. Your right hand will go up. Heavy, heavy weight in your left hand and a balloon tied to your right arm. Okay. How many of you found that your arms did separate? Okay. Now, this is your chance. If you want to see if you can be hypnotized, now don't come up, just, you know, to test me out, you know, to prove that you can't be hypnotized. But if you're willing to try it, let's have two. Okay. Two people come up and we'll see if we can hypnotize you. Come on up. Here's your chance. Whoever wants to come up.
Okay.
How are you?
So far.
Want to go up to the two chairs up there? Me and the drums. Have either of you ever been hypnotized before? Okay, would you like to? Let's see if we can do it. Now, all I want you to do is I want you to just, I'm going to hold this light up. I want you to look straight ahead, but just with your eyes, look up at the light. Don't put your head up, but just with your eyes, I want you to look up at this light. Okay? And just concentrate on the light and just listen to the sound of my voice. And as you do, you'll find that your eyelids will become very heavy, very relaxed, and your body will become so very relaxed, so very relaxed. And I'm going to start counting backwards from 10 to 1. And as I count back from 10 to 1, you'll find that your eyelids will close by the count of 1. And perhaps they may even close before that. But you'll continue to hear the sound of my voice as your eyelids become so very relaxed, so very heavy, and you'll find it's more and more difficult to keep them open. Your eyelids are becoming so heavy, so very heavy. 10, 9. They may even close before I reach the count of 1, but you'll continue to hear the sound of my voice as your eyelids become so heavy, so very heavy, and you become so relaxed, so very, very relaxed. 7, 6, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 4, 3. Your eyelids are closing. Closing, closing. Let them close as you go into a deep sound hypnotic sleep. But you'll continue to hear the sound of my voice as you go into a deep sound hypnotic sleep. 2, 1. Deeper and deeper sleep. Just let your eyelids close as you go into a deep sound hypnotic sleep. But you continue to hear the sound of my voice, and if I lift your hand, it'll just cause you to go deeper and deeper asleep, deeper and deeper asleep. So relaxed, so very good, but you continue to hear the sound of my voice. Deeper and deeper asleep. If I lift your hand, it'll just cause you to go deeper and deeper asleep. Deeper sleep. Okay, now in a moment I'm going to, the person whose hand I'm touching, I'm going to ask you, what is your full name? What is your full name?
Suzanne Rosen Coffee.
Okay. Now then, in a moment when I ask you to say your full name, you will not be able to say the name Suzanne. You will not say the name Suzanne. You have no desire to say the name Suzanne. What is your name? What is your middle name? Say your middle name.
Rosen
And your last name?
Coffee.
And what is your your first name? You can't say it. What is your first name? Now you can say it with no problem whatsoever. What is your first name?
Suzanne.
Okay, now you can't say it. What is your first name? What is your middle name? You can say your middle name.
Rosen.
Okay. Now you can say your first name with no problem whatsoever. What is your first name?
Suzanne.
Okay, now tell me your full name with no problem whatsoever.
Suzanne Rosen Coffee.
Okay. And what is your name?
Jane Winthrop.
Okay. Jane, in the moment when I ask you to say your last name, you will not be able to say your last name. What is your name? What's your first name?
Jane
And what is your last name?
Winthrop.
Okay. No problem. Now then, Suzanne, I want you to count from 1 to 5.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5.
Now, in the moment when I ask you to count, you'll find that there's no number between 2 and 4. There is no number between 2 and 4. From now on, when you try and count, it'll be 1, 2, 4, 5, 5, 4, 2, 1. There is no number between 2 and 4. If you understand what I've just said, raise your right thumb. Let's hear you count from 1 to 5.
1, 2.
What comes after 2? Okay, now you can say with no problem whatsoever.
3.
Oh, okay. Now you can't say it. What number comes at before 4? Oh, okay. Now you can count from 1 to 5 with no problem whatsoever. Count from 1 to 5.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5.
Oh, okay. Well, because the time constraints are going to end it at this point, okay, when I count from 1 to 5, both of you open your eyes, feeling very good, very relaxed, but very good. No ill effects. You'll be able to say your names and no problems. You'll be able to count with no problem whatsoever. Okay, 1, 2. Opening your eyes, feeling very good, very relaxed, but very good. 3, 4, 5. Open your eyes. So tell me, did you have any trouble? What happened when you tried to say your name?
When you told me I couldn't say certain words, I couldn't get the words out. I got stuck on the first sound.
Right. And Jane, because of the time constraints and everything else, I think if we had had more time and more quieter, you would have been a better subject. And maybe sometime I'll be able to do this when we have more time and we're not quite so rushed. And when you leave, I've got something for you, a piece of paper. They'll talk about counting the F's in a sentence. Just any event, thank you.
Thank you so much. And thank you, you guys. Thank you, our volunteers. So, judges, were you hypnotized?
Bob reminds me of a lot of the politicians I covered over the years. Hypnotizing the voters.
You know, we were going to have him come out before the break and say, I want you to bid a lot of money on the silent auction. Buy Mark's movie posters. Marion?
It's amazing what one can do to the human mind and the human body. Nicely done.
I have trouble sleeping, but maybe at time, Peter, don't listen. Maybe you can help me at some point.
Thank you, Bob Romanoff.